Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. I'm Lo, he's Dibes, and we have yet another Monsters at Work episode review. This was episode 8 titled Little Monsters. For anyone that's new to this stream or these reviews, this is a spoiler review. But please, if you haven't yet, check it out on Disney Plus. Monsters at Work. It's a follow-up to the Monsters Inc. film series. So, without further ado, this is just, this whole series is just so wonderful. This episode not much happened. It wasn't like spectacularly moving the story forward, but in terms of the protagonist, Tylor Tuskman's arc, he's definitely like getting some stripes in his character. And I think I'm not quite sure if I got my handle on it. We'll talk about that a little bit later once we get more in depth in the review, but I like where he's going. I think I know where he's going. We'll save some of the other stuff for later. But overall, this whole season has been very charming. What about you, Dibes? What are your first impressions of this week's episode?
Mini Monster Day! Like, all those little monsters were absolutely adorable. That's like kind of been the bread and butter of this series. Like, just giving us so many amazing and adorable side characters. I love the world building again this week. Adorable was back selling snow cones in the background. Like, I love those like little cameos, little nods. That it just, again, that world building is excellent. I thought Talia was a great addition to the show. She really like fed off of Tyler's energy really well. And 2 episodes ago, I predicted that Tylor would take center stage in this show. And it was just awesome to see that Mike and Sully barely have any kind of impact on this episode. And this episode did not miss a single beat. Tylor's arc is progressing so well. And I love how they're using all these characters as vehicles here to drive home a lot of the main kind of messages, what this show is all about. So it's been nothing short of, I don't want to say perfect, but it's just getting better and better, especially these last few episodes. It was great.
Well said, man. I think this show wouldn't work if Tylor didn't work. So I think that says a lot about not only Tylor, the whole Miffed crew. There's like this, like, they're like the lovable bunch of underdogs, not all that different from Uzma Kappa, if I'm being honest. And that's something that I did like about Monsters University, that dorky little fraternity that you just couldn't help but love because they're just so lovable. Yeah. And so the fact that Sully and Mike is not as prevalent in the last few episodes, I think that's a strength because the show is flourishing without them. So I think that's great. Really quick, I want to highlight the door system that you see in the first film, and the third climax has an epic chase when Sully is trying to save Boo from Randall, but seeing like the actual underground inner workings with the tracks and then the maintenance thing that follows the doors, that's such a fun concept. And we saw it previously, but it was highlighted even more today. And I thought that was really fun. That was probably my most memorable moment. What about you, man? What moments stuck out to you with this episode?
Like, I want to go a step back. You look at last week's episode, it did a really good job showing that value of friendship. You saw Tylor make that ultimate sacrifice. In perhaps the biggest moment of his life, he chose his friends, his coworkers over himself. 2 episodes ago, it was all about friendship between Duncan and Tylor. For me, I love the scene of Tylor finally earning Talia's respect by simply being truthful, by simply telling her, confronting his intentions to impress Miss Flint. You talk about the slow start of the show, but overall, these last few episodes especially, that heartwarming meter has gone up and up and up. And my favorite moment was Talia's speech at the very end, like when she's just saying, like calling the Mifters the power behind the entire gig. And like, let's go out there and wrench those nuts. And they're like chanting Mifters, and she's proud to call herself a mini Mifter. That was like the Ratatouille moment, like the Anton ego, where like he eats that first bite of Ratatouille made by Remy. Like, it was just such a heartwarming moment. And you said it best before we went live here. Like, that's what the show is all about. It's about those heartwarming moments that make you feel good. And I don't know what happened at the start of this season, but it's gotten better and better. The writers truly know what they're doing now, and they are just in cruise control. They're absolutely in cruise control. They know the characters. They know where they're going with this. Talia just, convincing herself that she's a Mifter was such a great moment.
And to piggyback off how much we're praising the writers, which we do every week, there is some really good jokes this week. I feel like that's what's making this show shine. The humor is outstanding. And I got to pinpoint one from Fritz where he was saying, this mini monster day is great. We would do it more often, but then we realized child labor laws. like having kids and putting them to work. Outstanding. And then also I like the kid that they paired with Duncan, because he put up a contract like, hey, look, you got to promise you're not going to try to take Fritz's job. And the kid put a contract right back at him like, I am not liable for any of my actions. And they just had like a stare down. I thought that was brilliant. Corporate humor just tickles my funny bone, especially when it's done appropriately. So hats off. I mean, this show is so much fun. So anybody watching, if you guys haven't yet, please just give it a shot, especially if you liked the first Monsters Inc. film. So Dives, let's grade this episode. And how do you think this is going to start wrapping up? Where do you think Tyler's going? Because I have some thoughts. So yeah. I'm curious to hear yours.
Yeah, I give it a straight 9 out of 10. It was excellent. Just like the last few episodes. These are all like low A's for me, which are very high praise. I think it's kind of interesting to see where Tyler's arc is moving forward. I think he's a Mifter. I think he's born and bred to become a Mifter at the end of the show. He wants to be a jokester. Sometimes, that's not what he's great at, and I think the show is about him realizing that the Mifters are his family. And I think that's where this is going. What about you?
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm starting to get the feeling that it's all about knowing not who you want to be per se, but who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's the direction we're going. But to be honest, there was a sliver of moment there where I was like, oh, shoot, did he find his thing with the donuts on his horns and he was doing a little puppet thing? But I realized, like, even if he put on a facade like that, that's exactly what it will be. It will be a facade. So I'm just going to call my shot. I'm not saying Fritz is going away, but I think he's going to break Duncan's heart and at some point take Fritz's job. I'm just going to call my shot. He's going to run the future of Mift. And I think that'll be awesome as a ending story arc to this story. So
I think that's a really good bet. I think those are heavy odds right there. I also see like this show definitely earning that kind of concept where, maybe Tyler finds his footing and he starts to crush it on being a jokester. And he has to then make that decision, the Myth family or kind of what I've always wanted to be, a jokester. So
that's actually curious. I think that will make for good drama. Like, that's what I was saying. Like he's a jokester, but oh no, there's a work order. Like he's got to balance the two jobs. That'd be kind of cool.
Yep.
What's up? We got Luke in the chat. He says, sorry, he's a little late.
It's all good, man. What's going on, Luke?
Thanks for joining us, man. But yeah, you did catch us a little bit at the end here.
No, it's a straight 9 out of 10. It's such a good show. If anybody is watching and you haven't seen, Monsters at Work, get through the first like 2 episodes. I promise you, the heartwarming, all those amazing moments that from Monsters Inc. have really just been amazing and crushed these last several episodes. So get through the first 2 episodes, and then it just gets better and better and better. I promise you guys.
And as a little side note, I actually think the first 2 episodes are quite awesome. So you might just enjoy them. So please check out this show. I personally give this episode an 8. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. And I'm super excited if we do get to a second season. I think there's a lot of fun stories to tell. And I think, like you illustrated, the drama, if he does become a jokester, will be very interesting to see him try to balance his 2 work lives. So that about wraps it up for us. Please tune in next Wednesday or so for the next review of Monsters at Work. And we also have a bunch of other stuff coming out. Please let us know what's going on with the Suit Up Geeks feature and where can people find you, Dives?
Mr. Crackpot right there. You follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I post a lot about food, a lot about Philly sports, a lot about nerd stuff. That's me. And my daughter, of course.
Nice. Yeah, so I think we got the What If review tomorrow, right? And then are we going to start a new thing, or should we keep that coming later?
The movie draft? A new movie
draft?
No,
the weekly thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that's at right now. We just need to kind of,
all right, more behind the scenes work, but we are in the midst of our animation draft, which has been a rousing success. Thank you everybody that's been voting so far. The animation movie draft tournament is what I'm referring to. We're almost to the final four. We should be there by the weekend. So thank you to all the drafters that are participating, and thank you for everybody for voting. Stay tuned for our next draft, which is coming, and it'll be awesome. So for Dives and myself, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.